today we have a very interesting topic. It's about breeding and all that. So tell us about how it goes. What is embryo transfer and how can it benefit the common mwananchi?
This is technology, thank God, it has been there with us. And in Kenya especially, whereas there have been a strong effort to try and put this particular technology in the hands of a lot of farmers, we found like the cost has been the biggest handicap. But first of all, before then I go far, let me explain in details what this particular technology involves.
Yes. Embryo
transfer technology is done in two common ways. One, we call it the in vivo, the one done inside the animal. And there's a second one we call in vitro, the one we do it in a lab setup.
Okay.
Let me then unpack further. The one we do inside the animal, the in vivo, basically involves use of hormones. Hormones, especially for the purposes of causing the ovaries to release several eggs at a go. In the scientific world, we call it multiple ovulation. That set of hormones, which is not very far from the ones being used in hospitals and ladies.
For humans.
For humans.
Okay.
Yeah, whereby, for argument's sake, when a lady is challenged in getting even a single child, maybe for the challenges of the ovaries, then they use hormones and they cause the mother then to give several eggs at a go. Okay. And then the mother comes home with triplets, quadruplets, and that particular kind of thing. So these hormones then is what we've used it in the animal world. Specifically then in this case it is the cow. Those are the hormones we use. Then again we do a second thing. We cause it to come on heat the day we want. Of course, you are aware, under normal circumstances, the animal comes on heat on a random days, you get me. So we do what we call the synchronization, coming on the animal, getting the animals to come on heat on the day we want.
Okay.
That way then we should be able then to prepare other animals to do the receiving of those particular embryos.
Okay.
So in a nutshell then, this is the process whereby we cause a cow, especially very superior cows, the one with a lot of milk, the one you are very much interested in, that kind of thing. First of all, then to release several eggs at a go, and then we'll take those particular eggs and then first of all fertilize them, because of course they are infertile.
Yes.
We use AI to fertilize them. And then once they are fertilized on the day the animal has come on heat, then 7 days later, we find a way then to remove those particular embryos in a process called harvesting or flushing. And then we put them into animals which have been prepared in advance. Also came on heat on the same date as the donor, the animal which is giving us the fertilized eggs or the embryos. And then now at the day of transfer, which is day 7, we now take these particular embryos, put them now on this particular receiving animal, and these ones now, or animals, these ones now carry the pregnancy to the completion. Yes. So in a nutshell, then that quality animal, that once in a lifetime animal, which is very, very good in production, very good in conformation. You know, what do I call it? You prayed very well to get it.
Yes.
Now that one, you give it a chance then to give you several eggs.
Yes.
And of course, that way then you can get it several calves from that particular animal. Okay. Unlike a situation whereby, you know, nature would be like, maybe you got a bull out of it and maybe you didn't get any products you can keep. So that way then, what do I call, the scientific world enable us then to preserve this particular good quality genetics by giving it a chance to have several calves.
All right.
The process I've talked about then is what we do inside the cow and what we call now conventional embryo transfer, or in other words, multiple ovulation embryo transfer, in brief, MOET. 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 Then now there's now the other side of the divide. What we do now, we don't wait for the animal to shed the eggs and whatever. We use specialized needles and also ultrasound technology, which allows us then to see specifically to reach out specifically into the ovaries. The ovaries, then we pick out the unfertilized eggs.
Yes.
There is a way with ultrasound, then there's a shade you get. Then now from there, you now suck it nicely into a specialized kind of a dish. And from that particular dish, because they are immature, you now take them to a lab setup. In that lab setup, then you get to mature them, the ova. Once they have matured enough, then they are ready for fertilization.
All right.
So you introduce the semen in a petri dish environment. And once that fertilization has taken place, then you use the same lab setup to mature those embryos, the fertilized eggs, until they are 7 days. When they're 7 days old, they are ready then for transfer, the same way they would have gotten them from the conventional embryo transfer technology.
All right.
That way, then you would have also prepared the surrogates to receive. So they receive the same way, in the transfer process. And so 9 months later, you have calves to talk about.
You've made them now come on heat at the same time. The one that is donating the eggs and the surrogate.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Surrogate being the one that is going to carry the pregnancy.
Yes.
Are there chances of missing it with a day or two, or there's an allowance of maybe 3-4 days is okay, or is it an exact?
We plan around the exact timing.
Yes.
But of course, nature being what it is,
yes,
at times they don't cooperate as you expect. So there is a reasonable allowance we'd offer.
Okay.
Within a day, maximum 2 days, worst case scenario 3 days, in which then the synchronization need to have taken place.
Okay.
But then we make up for that a difference in time by the age of the embryo. You get me? Even when the embryos get to be released, not all of them get to be released on the same time. So even the AI we do staggered AI. We do 12 hours apart.
Yes, yes.
So the first one maybe we can do in the first morning of the first day. Then in the evening we do, and we follow up on that particular time. So at the end of the day, then you'll have embryos in different stages. So come the time to harvest, the different stages then will be matched with the surrogates, which have come on different stages, different ages, so to say.
All right.
So we try and make up with that. But in essence, then when we do the synchronization part, we really work to see to it that all animals then come at least on a chosen day. So that even when we are doing the embryo transfer work, the harvesting and transfer, we can work everything within a particular day.
All right.
Yes.
So let me ask you something maybe the viewer would want. You've mentioned the donor of the eggs and the surrogate. Say, for example, I have my neighbor who has a cow and I just want a calf. Can they assist me? I give them the egg.
Let me paraphrase for you. Basically, it's like, can two neighbors work together?
Yes.
Maybe for argument's sake, one providing the donor, another one providing the surrogate.
Yes.
Or better still, and we've seen it in a cooperative setup.
Yes.
Can we work in a cooperative setup so that several farmers provide their surrogates, and maybe one farmer or two farmers provide the donors?
Yes.
So that is feasible.
Okay.
As long as then, of course, there is good understanding, and as long as then there is you don't get an excess whereby then at the end of the day somebody is complaining too much, like maybe then my cost was too high, that kind of thing. But we've worked with farmers then to have some good understanding. I think we've got a few cooperatives. I remember a few one in Gakindu in Mukuruine.
Yes.
Yeah. So there then the farmers then came together. Each one provided their surrogates. But with the donors, in their case, then the donors we got from somewhere else, just provided them with the embryos. Then the embryos then matured. But when you're really having a big team, and we've had to deal with such situations, then we now talk with, first of all, with the whole group, and have a good understanding with that particular team. You get me? Once that particular understanding and everybody is expected the terms and conditions of being in the group, then of course it can be rolled out. And but the biggest thing then again is even around the funding.
Before we go to the funding, do you have like signed agreements so that in case of anything, someone doesn't come? Because
we have them.
When as a group, someone comes and says, "I give consent to give my eggs to be harvested," and then later on they'll be like, "No, you guys benefited from this and this." do they have like a signed agreement so that it doesn't happen after that?
For each and every group is unique.
Yes.
You get me? And in some places, a gentleman's agreement is good,
insufficient.
and you know, you're home and dry.
Yeah.
But we've learned then in some situations that it's best when everything is in black and white.
Sure.
That there is an agreement in place. So as a group, and we work under the East African Semen and Embryo Transfer Association at times, or even at you know, at organization level, like at ADC where I work.
ADC.
So we then would organize good contracts for the farmers we are going to work with. So in the unlikely event that somebody then feels they are not happy in that kind of thing, there is always a contract then to revert to.
Okay.
So that has been the norm, and we normally would work with a group which when we choose to go that particular route. So clarity and the group in question then would dictate the kind of effort which will be required. And contracts then can be from the donor side when you're producing the eggs, the receiving side when they are. We learned a lot from the human side, and human sides tend to be more complicated because then at times attachment to the babies who are being born can tend to be very, very, very crazy. But with that in mind, then we also alive to that particular scenario. So we really go out of our way.
Yes.
First of all, make the farmers understand what they are getting into. And then we journey with them now the whole process from start to finish. And then finally, then when the products are also found, then we also journey to them to see to it that nothing happens.
Okay. So,
or better still, that you know, there is harmony from that results, and at the end of the day, there is win-win for all the parties. So that's the embryo transfer is a long journey we've learned. Okay, it's not just one. In fact, turns out it's not just one off that we do it once and that's the end of the story. Most than not, for a very successful ones, we repeat. We do the first time, the second time, maybe even the third time. If you really talk nicely to a community, I mean, there are people then who are more than happy to participate, provide the animals with a good understanding that maybe as like you're producing the embryos, then some calves then can be given back to them, you know. I can't purport to understand the complexity of every situation, but it's doable.
It's doable.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm a standalone farmer and I want, just for me only, I have my heifer and I'm calling up to Dr. Morris, come and help me out. I want this technology to my cow. Is it possible? I only have one cow.
We prefer, like even in a single situation, you team up as a team, so that we come and work with at least 5 animals to the minimum. The more, the better. You know, because the cost. I mean, the cost of that treatment. You know, when I'm even coming, I mean, we incur transport for one animal. We could as well share the transport cost for the 5 or 10. Yeah. So in that particular setup, the very, very bare minimum costs, then we're looking at the cost of buying the embryo and cost of treatment. So by the time you get 40,000, 50,000 at the most, we are good to go for that one single animal. But like I mentioned, we prefer at least 5 animals
in a group.
So 250,000, find a way then to mitigate that particular cost. Yeah.
So Daktari, I have a controversial kind of question. Now that the technology is getting designer cows, won't some people think like maybe you guys are trying to play God? What are the ethical things around that?
We get to be asked periodically what we are doing really is not in any way bordering ethics. Let me then clarify like this. What we are doing then is, of course, participating in God's creation.
Yes, sure.
That's the part we can't run away from. But we're doing it in such a way that then we are not in any way tampering with whatever is already available for us. We, in the embryo transfer work we do, what we just think, it just what do I call, enhancing what is there. And it's not very far from when you go to the hospital and a mother gets to be treated, and when the mother gets to be treated, they end up with quadruplets, and so forth. So that extra babies get to be born is not in any way that they have contravened what God was expecting. Yeah. I mean, maybe God has even blessed them. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll even glorify God that they have been blessed much more than they would have normally I would have expected with one child.
Sure.
So in the same context, when we now put the animal, when you go to the animal side of the divide, what we are doing is like we're really helping farmers then to get animals they would not have gotten. If they were to go maybe to even a serious breeder and ask, like, my friend, I want the top of the top animals which you have in the herd. No normal sane farmer would sell such animals. Such brackets, that group of animals are rarely in the market.
They're really in the market.
But the window of embryo transfer then is different in the sense that more farmers, the farmers then in that breeding business would be happy then to participate in the embryo transfer program, knowing that they are even going to get maybe something back from such an arrangement, depending on how they put their case, in such a way that they themselves also will be winners in that particular arrangement. But for the farmers then who have been given an opportunity to have animals, they would never even have thought of even buying in the market. For sure that is a serious blessing in that particular kind of thing. So we don't temper in any way at the level of the genetics. I mean, we're just doing the hormone thing.
Yes.
The animal does its thing as far as the production of eggs and embryos.
Yes.
And then what we just do then is just work with what nature and what has been provided for us.
Sure.
The difference now comes in now when we start doing genetic manipulation, it's called. For argument's sake, then you want to bring a gene from a pig into the cow, or maybe take the gene from the cow into a human. I mean, that kind of mixes that tend to be very, very unethical. And more so when you start involving then human beings in the mix.
Yes.
You get me, like you want to create a superhuman and whatever. Then I don't know whether you have created a machine or a human.
Yes.
That now borders the ethical lines, which then many and even of our colleagues in the breeding of animals wouldn't be involved.
Right.
That is a no-go zone for us as far as that kind of thing. Yes, you get those kind of stories at times that, maybe they have taken apart, they have done it in the lab, it can now produce milk rather than looking for the whole cow. You get me. And there are pros and cons to that.
Yes.
Now, whether then you've crossed the ethical lines when you go that particular route, then that can happen.
Okay.
You get me. And but from my team around embryo transfer, we've been happy to leave nature as much as possible.
All right.
To remain on that.
Okay. So there you have it, farmers. This was a very amazing session. We've learned so much about breeding, about getting that designer cow, that one that you've always wanted. Remember, you get all this within just 3 years. You get a super pedigree designer cow. Thank you, Daktari, for being with us today. Maybe you could share your contacts with them.
Okay.
We'll still put them in the description below.
I think in appreciation, and let's also have that I don't do this work alone. I have a team. I'm just like the front for the team. When the farmer is ready to engage us, then I'll be the front. My number is 0710 815161. Currently, I'm based in Nairobi Development House, but we reach out to farmers wherever they are in the country. We've even had sessions outside the country. So even farmers outside the country do not feel shy. We will work with you. When you are ready, I think we'll have that initial discussion.
All right.
Before anything that gets done, that each and every farmer or farmer group for that matter, or whatever team you are in, is able then, first of all, then to understand the nitty-gritty. Then from there, we walk you through. If you want a contract, we'll do a contract with you. And then at the end of the day, now we are ready now to execute. We'll come in and assist you with the selection of the animals, both the donors and the surrogates. Don't be too fast to go and supposedly select animals on your own. At times you could miss out on the qualities we are looking for. So that I really need to emphasize. Work with us. Don't purportedly then go and select animals and tell us we've done that. Let's journey with you from start to finish. And as mentioned also earlier, even though we'll journey with you also from the embryo transfer work, the point when the calves get to be born, and also see to it that the animals get to perform very well at the level of production. Get to understand it much, much deeper, so that then you know why some farmers are invested in it. So with that in mind, and I'm here then to welcome each and every farmer who really, really wants to think outside the box as far as dairy. Don't struggle with that animal which doesn't give you milk. And forever complaining that my cows don't have milk because of the fact they were poor bred. We are here to help you that within that window of time, 1 year, you really have the quality of animals which can then give you a return on investment. Dairy right now and where we are going really is about being is a precision science. You can't just wake up and supposedly mix or breed in some ways which doesn't have a very, very precise order and then expect to have results. No, you need to be very, very careful in that particular. But I mean, if anything, get it right in the foundation.
Get it right in the foundation.
Get the right quality animals. And this particular technology then allows you then to have the best of the best, which then gives you a very good base for you then to continue working. Once you have your initial set of animals, the rest of the work is easy.
It's easy.
Yeah, you grow your herd to the hundreds or to whatever, because of the fact that you had a very, very good base. So these are just about getting it right as far as the base. Then from there, breeding becomes a breeze. It's very easy then to progress. So thank you very much for having me, and look forward to maybe other serious sessions.
All right.
Yes.
We will.
Yes.
So Daktari says, stop taking your chances. Instead of spending 15 years looking for a super pedigree, it will take you 2 to 3 years and you have it. So get rid of that cow, sell it all, and come to Daktari, and he will sort you out. You'll get the breed that you want, and all will be well. Till next time, it's adios.